Okay, fellow camera junkies, here I am back again with a Canon EOS Rebel t1i. Excuse me, with a Sigma f3.5 DC OS optical stabilization 18 to 200 millimeter lens. This is a nice lens for this camera. It's an inexpensive lens, but I mean, look at the size of it. Extend that thing out there, and that's a monster as well. It's not, as sturdy as the 18 to 50 or 18 to 200 millimeter Nikon VR lens, but it's, way less. I got this. I picked it up for 350 bucks, the lens, from Henry's. So that was a pretty good deal. The camera itself is, a pretty good camera for an entry-level DSLR. Maybe a little bit above an entry level, I'd say. It's better than most, like Sony A200s or stuff like that. It's a 15.1 megapixel camera, so it'll take pictures the size of, your wall. It basically has the same internals as a 50D, a little less on the, frames per second and stuff like that. But for what I'm using it for just traveling and trips, and traveling and trips are the same thing, but for what I'm using it for, it's a good camera. I don't need anything like a 7D or some monster hanging around my neck. It makes my head hang down at the end of the day. All around, it's a pretty decent camera. It turns on pretty quick and shoots pretty quick. That was pretty quick. From on to off, sensor cleaning now. I could turn it on and then just basically hit the button, and that's it. That's quick. It also does video. You can switch it over to video here. Oh no, you gotta switch this to video. Hold on. Switch that over there. There. Sorry. See, now this one's recording as well. That works pretty easy. This will shoot in 1080p. The Nikon 5000 won't, but it'll shoot 1080p, but only 20 frames per second. So you're better off just leaving it in the 720p at 30 frames per second, because at 20 frames per second, anything moves and it's going to be not looking good. Anyways, again, I'm happy with this lens. It's a nice durable lens. I think it's a little bit more durable than the Tamron 18 to 200, which I've had before. As far as the camera itself, it's a plastic body. It's not a D50 or a 50D or a 7D or anything like that. But I mean, unless you're shooting paparazzi style stuff all the time and sports, I don't know. This is a pretty good all-around camera for the average Joe to have. I'm pretty happy with it, and we'll see how long I keep it. Now, the lens that comes with it, the 18 to 55 millimeter lens, it's really chintzy. Comes down to it, like that had to go. But I mean, they seem to all come with it anyways, so it's a good lens to keep for when you want to sell it, and you can keep this lens and move it on to a bigger one if you want. Again, I think a lot of these bigger cameras are really a little bit over the top for the average Joe, and you don't need them. You just need to be able to turn it on, turn it to something, and be able to, say, sports, close up, landscape, portrait, full auto, right? That's all you need to do. You don't want to be messing around with ISOs and all that other stuff unless you're really taking your time and shooting stuff for Sports Illustrated. But if Sports Illustrated gives me a job, I'm sure I'm going to buy a better camera. Shoot all the bikini models. Anyways, any other questions? Feel free to ask. Again, that was the Canon Rebel EOS t1i and the Sigma 18 to 200 millimeter OS lens. Ciao for now.